Pupils return to schools in Dundee, Angus, the Highlands and Moray today, some of the first to do so in Scotland. But many teachers who taught last term now find themselves without a job. Throughout the summer, staff have spoken of the difficulties in securing permanent positions. A newly qualified teacher told STV News she would not have studied the profession had she known the reality of the job market. Now, with the new term here, some have been forced back to old student jobs and others have decided to leave Scotland entirely. Brandon Cook reports.
As schools returned across Dundee this morning, Melissa packed her bags for a new adventure. The primary teacher spent her probationary year at a school in the city, but when that finished at the beginning of this summer, she faced the prospect of having no job to return to. Watching friends and colleagues struggling to secure positions eventually led her to the difficult decision to leave the Scottish system entirely. Tomorrow morning, she'll fly nearly 5,000 miles to teach at a school in Dubai.
Dundee and Scotland are my home. This is where my family and friends are. This is my life. And I love teaching in Scotland. I love teaching in Dundee. It's just, I think this year has been a big shock to everyone about how little jobs there were. I would have happily stayed here for years teaching if I'd got the option.
Melissa has close friends who are teachers who spent today with no classroom to teach in. Some are on the supply list and have been forced to return to jobs they did as students to pay the bills in the meantime.
Going into uni, even to the point of graduating, we were always still convinced that they were crying out for teachers, and I think that's what you always hear.
While Melissa packs, other qualified teachers like Maddie have already made the leap. The Aberdeen University graduate worked in Glasgow last year. Now she's moved to Sweden because jobs here are so scarce.
I can't speak for other councils, but I know, like Glasgow alone, there was 200 of us that were probationers this year, that qualified this year. And we were all told, all 200 of us were told, was you're basically, even if you score full marks in your interview, there's a very high chance you won't get a permanent job, which is it is a big letdown.
Yesterday, the Educational Institute of Scotland called on the First Minister to take action on the lack of job security amongst newly qualified teachers. The union says with the cost of living so high, teachers simply aren't able to weather effective zero-hour contracts any longer.
Only 18% of our members would recommend teaching as a good profession, and again, part of that has to be around the issue of precarity and the fact that we're effectively operating 0 hours contracts within the teaching profession in Scotland, and a vital public service like education shouldn't be running on that basis.
The Scottish Government said the Education Secretary will continue to work with councils on the issue of recruitment and retention. But for some teachers, any improvement will come too late. Brandon Cook, STV News.